When people think seafood, there are certain things they still think of. Clam chowder, lobster roll. When you're dealing with a chef like Giuseppe Tintori, you want to allow him to flex his muscles a little bit. So that's the modern part. So it kind of satisfies two different groups of people. We never want a customer saying, what's the big deal? You know, I don't get it. Everybody on the staff at every restaurant that we own, that's the goal. Make sure that people leave going, I get it, that's phenomenal. There's an electricity to the room. I don't think I'd ever walked into a seafood restaurant before and described it as sexy. So I think we were looking for something that was still sexy and had a buzz to it, and had some electricity to it, had some volume to it. I mean, in this day and age, with the amount of competition that's out there, you have to be at the top of your game. The service, the attention to detail, the room itself, the food, every aspect, you have to be fantastic. I want people coming here and having an incredible time and exceeding their expectations, like Rob said, but I also want them to say, that's cool, that's interesting, I haven't seen that before.
So Andy, you say that GT is the new hotspot in town. Tell us why you chose it.
I chose this restaurant because it's just really, really great food, interesting flavors, great seafood, and I think in a part of town where you don't always expect to have a place that's really food-oriented, because right down the street it's a little bit scenier and a little bit clubbier, and I think you kind of get that vibe in GT, but the flavors and the freshness of the seafood, I think, is just, it's really interesting stuff on the plate.
So GT, in this case, is Giuseppe Tintori, who's a chef partner with the Boca Group. That sort of vibe tends to be sort of a hallmark of the Boca Group restaurants. Would you agree?
Yeah, they do such a good job of creating a restaurant that feels special. Like for me, it's a special occasion type place, but I don't think it feels constraining the way that restaurants can sometimes feel. Like it doesn't have the white tablecloth, everyone speaks in a hushed voice sort of thing. It's just a lot of energy and sort of contemporary kind of modern feeling to both the decor and the food.
So Mary Monica, you actually work in the area and you decided to take your coworkers for lunch. How was it?
I did. We had a great business lunch. I took my DJs, so it was me and my guys, me and my boys.
Lunch with your DJ.
It was very nice. It was very nice. And it was a great atmosphere. I really liked it. It was uber clean. It was very chic and modern. We did sit at a communal table, and it was really nice, but it was just us. And our waitress told us that it was tapas style. So order small plates, maybe 2 to 3 plates each person. So we pretty much ordered everything on the menu between all of us.
What did you order?
We all tried. We had fish and chips, which were wonderful. We had the halibut. My favorite were the mussels. The mussels were unbelievable. The sauce in the mussels was just phenomenal. And the bread to dip, I actually ordered more bread to dip the mussel sauce in.
All right, so Mark, you went on a romantic night out with your wife. How was it?
Wonderful.
Did you score some points?
I scored some points, yes.
Well, oysters are an aphrodisiac.
Yes, they are. We didn't have the oysters, but they were pretty good. Yeah, so it was a great night. One, because we didn't expect the food to be so good. First of all, we're in the middle of America. Where do you get seafood that fresh? Oh, the eel, the barbecue eel, was to die for. We had fish and chips. You gotta have fish and chips. Had the fish and chips, which was really good. We had the duck confit. We tried something that wasn't seafood to see, they had all the seafood, and then at the bottom of the menu, these 4 little options.
I think the menu down there says not fish.
Yeah, not fish, yes. But the duck confit was exquisite. It was really, really good. The clam chowder, which was, I think, one of the most unique clam chowders I've ever had. Just really, really good.
Well, and that's sort of the hallmark of Giuseppe. He's such a fabulous presentation, with his training. He was a part of the culinary team at Trotter for so many years. He still does it with that great culinary training.
Right. Yeah.
So you had fish and chips. You have to have beer with fish and chips, right?
Yes, I did.
What did you have?
I had, I think it's called the Sriracha Ace is what it's called. Oh my gosh, that stuff was great, man.
Sriracha is a specific type of hop that's named after it, but it's got a very lemony flavor to it.
Yeah,
so it's like that lemon juice right on your fish and chips.
Very, very tasty. Went very well with seafood. Very good.
So, Andy, what are some of your favorite dishes to get here?
I get the tuna poke a lot, which I think is, I've had people go with me who are not very into sushi or tuna tartare and are still like, this is so good, I love the flavors. When we were there the other night, we got the shrimp ravioli, which was just almost like a very classic Italian style dish with a creamy sauce and peas, but it also had a little bit of red tobacco on top, which just kind of gave it this little pop of extra unexpected sort of seafoodiness. Soft shell crab and the corn, the roasted corn, was one of my favorites when we went the other night.
So we tried the oysters. This is GT Fish and Oyster after all.
One of my DJs is Russian, so I brought him for specifically that fact, and it was very funny because he sat down for lunch and he said, "I'll have a dozen oysters to start," and he meant it
For one person.
For one person, and he meant it, and he did try them all, and he said they were really good, and that there's the difference in the flavor, whatever he could distinguish. But he didn't like the sauces, but he liked the oysters themselves. But he's a purist when it comes to oysters.
A lot of oyster purists will not do sauce.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So when you walk into GT, you're greeted by this bountiful energy.
Right.
Yet you were able to have a romantic dinner.
Yes.
So describe that.
We got a little corner plate where like the couches, there's the couches that meet. There's a little table right there, and we sat right there, and we could see the whole view of the restaurant. But even though there were people right next to us, it was very kind of secluded and a very special little spot, so we could get a whole vibe of the restaurant. It was just really nice.
It's almost like they've kind of perfectly demarcated, like, this is the place that you go if you are with a big group of friends, and you sit at or stand at the boomerang table. And then if you kind of go around the corner, there's like a second dining room, which has like booths along the wall, and it's like a black wall with like a big fish skeleton art on it. My fiance looks around and he's like, "This is what Red Lobster wants to be." Because it has that like East Coast sort of nautical look, but everything is so quirky and modern.
So Mary Monica, you work in the neighborhood. Is this a
Yes.
welcome addition to the neighborhood?
Welcome addition, so much that I would definitely recommend to my coworkers to go there and have lunch, and I'm going to go and try dinner too.
All right, Andy, you recommended GT Fish and Oyster. Sum it up for us.
I think it's really great, inventive seafood in a really beautiful environment.
All right, Mary Monica?
I think it is a very hip and great place with amazing food, amazing fish.
And Mark?
Make you smack your mama and rear up at your daddy. That's a good eating.
Well, you can try the oysters and much more at GT Fish and Oyster, 531 North Wells Street, 312-929-3501. They're open for lunch Monday through Friday and dinner daily. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $45.